Hello, welcome to the first official episode of the SOS From Home podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Michael Nahosa, here with my two friends.
Hi, I'm Kat.
Hi, I'm Diego.
This is a little project we wanted to get up and running just to keep you guys informed while everyone's stuck at home during this pandemic. But this is our first episode, so we're just going to be talking about what our organization is and what it does. So we're SOS San Antonio, which stands for Summer of Service. But to clarify, we do more than just service in the summer. We're trying to get students of service. That's something we're trying to get, but I don't think we have an update on that one yet. But we're a nonprofit organization based in San Antonio. We're all interns, so this is a little passion project we got going on. But even though I'm one of the hosts here, I'm actually still pretty new. Catherine and Diego, they got more experience than I do. So why don't you guys give some leeway onto what you think of this organization?
So I think there's a lot of ways to describe SOS, but the easiest way is to describe it in the three pillars that it's made out of. The learn pillar, the serve pillar, and the explore pillar. And everything that SOS does, from service projects to trips around the world, can be categorized into one of those three pillars. Michael, why don't you talk about the learn pillar?
Ooh, my favorite pillar. And mostly because when I was making a little header video for us, I got to see all the pictures, and there were a lot of kids that I knew from high school that I didn't know were involved in this organization because, embarrassingly enough, I didn't know SOS actually existed until spring semester, spring 2020 at St. Mary's, which I don't know how that's possible. But the learn pillar, in my opinion, is probably one of the most important pillars of SOS because it's based on learning in the field. It was like being able to experience the culture firsthand. So SOS will take their students to places like art museum, cultural festivals. One of them it goes in with the explore pillar, in which you guys get to go abroad and experience things like going to Tokyo, France, England. I think Puerto Rico was one of them, if I remember correctly. Could be wrong. But it's all about getting everything hands on. Because I believe, just like the organization believes, that if you're going to learn something, it needs to be hands on. Because you can't say you've experienced a culture without being there, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Yeah. Next up is the serve pillar. So when Mr. Samandi founded SOS, it was because he wanted to give students the chance to, become better global citizens. And becoming a better global citizen is a big part about what SOS is all about. Um, and just to clarify, a global citizen is somebody who is aware of the world around them and that world's needs and actively tries to address them. And so the way that SOS tries to do that is through service projects. Now, this happens in a wide variety of ways. Before COVID-19 broke out, there were monthly service projects at the Diaper Bank, the Texas Diaper Bank, the San Antonio Food Bank, just different service projects around town. Now that's changed in light of this pandemic, and we'll talk more about how students have been volunteering from home later on in the episode. Um, SOS also started a really cool initiative called the Make It Happen initiative. It was actually recognized by the White House as allowing kids to become social entrepreneurs. What initiative is it allows students to come up with an idea for a service project, whatever it may be, and then submit it to SOS as an idea. And if it's approved, those students get the backing of SOS and the use of its full resources to try to implement it. So it's a really cool, unique twist on volunteering, as opposed to just being a volunteer. You can, be running an entire operation. I would say the serve pillar is an integral part of SOS. Um, yeah.
Yeah. And so the last pillar, which is explore, actually kind of involves both the other pillars as well. So Explore basically is where all like whichever SOS participants want to explore beyond the borders of the United States or even beyond the borders of San Antonio, they can, and SOS provides a way to do that. But first, we must like all of the SOS participants. They either have to complete a certain amount of service to be eligible for these trips, and then we also have to we go to these like learning experiences where we learn about the culture of whatever place that we're going to, and then we learn about like how to act and like how to travel and like what it's like to represent SOS as an organization. um, and then in Explore there's like a few different options. There's the sister cities that you can go to where we um and I think Diego, you've been on one of these before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you go to like a city, and I'm not sure. I've never actually been on one, but I think you like Diego. If you want to touch on that real quick.
Yeah, so they're really cool. They're put on by an organization called Sister Cities International, and basically it's like a conference where kids aged like 14 through 18 from all around the country, actually all around the world, they come together and they learn about diplomacy and global connectivity and just sort of like hang out and have fun. I've been to two conferences. The first year it was hosted at Denver University in Denver, Colorado. And that was really cool. There were some kids from Jamaica and some kids from South Korea. And then this past summer, I went to the Sister Cities International Conference hosted at Rice University in Houston, Texas. That was really cool. There were kids from Saudi Arabia, I think, somewhere in the Middle East. I'm pretty sure it was Saudi Arabia or Pakistan, which is in the Middle East. That's near India, but same general area of the world. Um, and there were also kids from I think Honduras and Ecuador. So yeah, they're really cool opportunities to meet new people and learn about diplomacy.
Man, where was that when I was in high school? I went to ISA, International School of the Americas, and maybe I guess I just wasn't paying attention because I was a totally different kid in high school than I am now. But that sounds like something that'd be right up, like something that you'd think you'd see on the posters at ISA because they're very big about this stuff. Like heck, our founder, Mr. Samandi, I went to high school with his son, and yet I had no idea that this existed until a couple of months ago, which I think is wild. I don't know how this flew under my radar so
Yeah,
long.
yeah,
I'm disappointed in myself for that because I did go abroad. I got to go to Takayama and Tokyo for the ISA trip, and everyone needs to go abroad. Honestly, it changes your outlook on the world like tremendously. Like I still talk about that trip. I was only there for 2 weeks, but the amount of stuff that happened was just epic. That's like the only word I can think of. It's just epic. Because
Yeah.
we got to experience so much. I mean, I didn't get to do a tea ceremony because I don't think we had the time for that. But knowing how to act, we got to meet some government officials of Japan. I thought that was pretty interesting.
oh, cool.
Just little stuff
Yeah.
like
So
a
oop,
boiled egg that was boiled in a hot spring. That's probably my favorite because that's such a weird texture.
That sounds not
in a hot
like
spring.
something I would enjoy. But
They just boil the egg in the hot spring. They just put it in there, and then it just does all the work for you.
Catherine, you've been on some trips too, right?
Yeah. So, alongside of the sister cities trips, SOS also takes students abroad, like Michael was talking about a little bit. So SOS has actually been to 15 different countries in 15 different trips, and we've taken more than 500 travelers abroad. And this is still a part of Explore, and like the idea is just building on each student's global citizenship and experiencing different cultures so we can bring those experiences back home and make our community a better place. So I've actually been on 3 trips. I was really lucky. I've been to Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and Germany. And Japan and Germany were actually what we call student ambassador trips. So instead of just going to experience the country and like be tourist in that country, we actually got to talk with officials in those countries. Like in Japan, we got to meet the vice mayor of our sister city, Kumamoto. So that was really cool. And we also had host families. So we actually got to live like the culture, the Japanese culture, and experience what it's like to be a Japanese citizen. So we can bring it back to the United States and like have, a new perspective on things. And then in Germany, we also talked to political leaders of our sister city, Darmstadt, which was really interesting because we got to experience a different political system, and we got to have a really in-depth conversation with the political leaders, which was really cool. So yeah, those are the three pillars basically of summer service. And as I kind of touched on them, they all really are intertwined. So they're not like you don't just join SOS just to do the learn pillar. You kind of like you learn a little when you do community service, when you explore, and so they're all just intertwined.
Yeah, it's pretty much like an all or nothing type deal. One pillar can't stand without the other two. Because if you took out one, then it wouldn't be SOS anymore. Because all of it is just so gloriously intertwined together. Like a lot of people think, like, oh, it probably will just be learn and serve because we're a nonprofit organization that's based around community service, right? But from
Yeah.
what I've seen, the amount of stuff that you guys do with all three of those pillars, like I'm pretty jealous. I remember texting Mr. Samandi telling him like, man, I wish I would have known about this in high school. Because I remember going through all those trip photos that you guys had to make the video,
Hmm.
and there
Oh
were
yeah.
lot of kids that I knew from high school. Like Diego and I apparently were in band together for a year, which
Yeah.
I believe. I mean, it was my last year of band, so I guess I didn't get much interaction. But now that he mentioned it, I was like, yeah, I most definitely remember seeing you.
Yeah, SOS is mostly it's I believe 12 to 18-year olds. So all of these experiences are made through the eyes of students. So it really impacts each of us in our own way, whether it be through just community service or if we actually go to another culture and like get to talk to other people from other countries. So I think that's really cool about SOS is that we're still young people and we're learning all these valuable skills that we can use later on in life to like impact our community and impact other communities as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that we were talking about this earlier. Like, what SOS is doing, it's not going to pay off today or tomorrow, but in a generation, you're going to see an entire, new set of adults who are going to be, they're going to have a different mindset than the adults of today. They're going to have traveled and they're going to have experienced and interacted with other cultures. And that's just going to, set them up for success and set up future generations for success because you're going to have these kids, right, like who have seen the world in a way that isn't very traditional. And so yeah, what SOS is doing, it's gonna impact the future. I think like right now, like the appeal to SOS for like a student like in high school is it's a one-stop shop for anything you need, like I guess to better yourself. Like if you want to be a better person, join SOS. It'll allow you to volunteer, it'll allow you to make new friends, it'll allow you to see the world around you. But what I think a lot of people don't realize, but what you just touched on, Catherine, is that yeah, SOS is like it's creating like, a new like set of people, a new set of kids who when they become adults are going to be able to change the world, I think.
yeah, that was really well put.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Dang.
I couldn't think of a better way to say it myself. Look at you.
I know. Like I remember when I first learned about SOS. This was 4 years ago when I was just starting freshman year. I walked into Mr. Samandi's classroom, our executive director, and he had all like the posters for the SOS trips. I think he had that summer it was the Australia New Zealand trip, and I think there was also maybe Italy Greece. but I was like, wow, I want to do this. And like community service was really important to me as well. So SOS really encompasses all of that, and it's really like it's changed my like trajectory of what I was going to do in college and what I was going to do in life. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I think people underestimate the value that it has. Like, it's me too. Like, it has changed. Like, I mean, since I've been in like sixth grade, like people have been like grooming me to be a doctor. They're like, "Oh, Diego, you're gonna be a doctor one day." Like, "Oh, you'll be Doctor Robbins." Like, that's cool and all, but like volunteering with SOS has made me realize, like, I don't want like I want to like I don't know. I don't want to be a doctor.
Make a
Yeah,
difference.
I want to make a difference. I mean, and you'll make a difference being a doctor, but I want to do something more impactful. Like I want to
Mhm.
start a company that, sends kids abroad for us. I don't know. I just know I want to do something like, more humanitarian than being a doctor.
Oh, I get exactly what you're saying, dude. That's why I'm in this internship because my boss at the AMC, one Kathy Lehman Meyer, definitely look her up. She's pretty cool if you ask me. She knew that doing more humanitarian stuff was what I wanted to do because I major in international global studies at St. Mary's.
Oh,
Best
nice.
decision of my life. I literally love that major so much. Everything about it, being able to learn about the world, is just amazing because a lot of times people, in my opinion, will go through their entire life without knowing a single thing about someone else, you know, because
Yeah,
they're so wrapped up in the here and now, when and where. Like you don't
Mhm.
really think about, oh, what's going on over here and the other side of the world. You're more focused on what you can do right now. And I just like Diego said, I wanted to find a way to create like a more global humanitarian impact, if that makes any sense.
yeah.
And Miss Kathy was the one who told me about SOS. And when we talked about it and we started looking everything up, the first thing I said was, how did I not know that this existed? And then he showed me a video of Mr. Semanda giving a speech at St. Mary's, and he pulled a picture of his family, and his son Gabe was there. And I was like, I went to high school with him. How did I not know this organization existed? And I was so pumped that I used LinkedIn to reach out to Mr. Samandi and tell him, I don't want you, I need you to come to St. Mary's so we can talk about me maybe getting an internship because this is something I need to do. This isn't a want, this is a need. Like if I don't get the skills that I'm gonna get in this internship, then it's game over. Like that's it. Down the toilet. Like this is something I needed, and so far it's been the best internship I've ever had.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're really glad you're here, Michael.
And
yeah, for
it's
sure.
been for years, so I can only begin to imagine all the stuff you guys got. Because
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's super cool hearing what you guys did and how you guys are younger than me and you've been on all these trips and you've done all these things and created these service projects by yourself. It's like, dang, that really knocks me out of the water. Like this is awesome.
but I think like
Said
you,
about the Make It Happen initiative, I think that's important for any community service based nonprofit because how many places do you know where they're like, if you give us an idea, we'll give you the full manpower you need to make it happen? Because most
yeah,
of the time, like most community service is given through like schools,
yeah,
and they already have set things like, oh, you're going to do this, and there's going to be this many people. But at SOS, you can be like, I want to paint a sidewalk and make the neighborhood all pretty to impact people, and I'm going to need this much stuff with this many people. And SOS is going to be like, awesome, let's get on it. And I think that's really important because a lot of the times, at least for how I was as a kid, is I was discouraged from wanting to do like to make my own ideas because there would never be much support. Like if you go to adult or an organization, they're not going to care unless it's either super practical or can either get you a lot of money or cost like little money. But knowing that SOS is going to support you because they want to help you make the world a better place, I think that just really speaks volumes about the organization.
yeah,
Honestly, I think that's important. Helping kids realize dreams that they want to do.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And sometimes I do think adults forget that kids are going to be the next generation, and they're going to be
Mhm.
taking the reins of the world. I sometimes I feel like they forget that because it's like kids really are important. The younger generation is important. They got bright ideas. They got good ideas. And a lot of the times I've seen people get brushed off because the excuse that I've seen a lot is, "Oh, you're too young. You don't know enough about politics." And it's like, well, because you're not letting us get involved with the world, you know? And SOS
Mhm.
do that.
Yeah.
It's my little tangent. I'm sorry. I got a little passionate about that.
No,
You're good. No, I think it's great. Like you said, you wish you would have like started this, or you wish you would have known about this sooner. But I think it's never too late to start. Like you started this in, or you started your own like internship with SOS, and like you did the first step to like reaching out. So congrats.
Very nerve wracking. I'm not gonna lie, because I had all this big talk and I was messaging him, and he was like,
Mhm.
Mr. Spain was like, "Okay, I'll meet you on this day at St. Mary's in the Commons," and I was like, "Awesome, let's do this." And then I was getting myself ready. It was right about that time, and then he walks in, and I know it's him, and immediately I'm like, "This was a bad idea. I don't know why I thought I could do this," and I was freaking out because it wasn't really. I mean, he was interviewing me, of course, but at the same time, it felt like I was interviewing him. Like
Mm.
he was the one being interviewed. Like I was the intern interviewing to see if I was going to intern at this place.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Well,
Sorry. Go ahead, Catherine.
no. Oh, you can go ahead. I was just gonna...
I was gonna say like I mean I think Mr. Samandi like he's a dreamer, right? Like he like dreams big, and I think SOS is his outlet to be able to dream big, and like he's made those like dreams like happen. Like like his creativity and like his passion for like helping his community is like what's like led to this. Like I mean yeah, like I mean he has like such big ideas, and then like somehow like they meant like his like if you before like the Make It Happen like initiative was a thing, if someone was like, all right, we're gonna give like for high schoolers full reins of a like nonprofit organization to do whatever they want for a month, like that people
Mhm.
would be like, that's crazy, but like that was his idea and he made it happen. So I mean, I mean, this all
He
comes
made
back
the
to
make it happen. Made it. He
yeah,
made it happen.
exactly.
Make it happen.
Pun entirely intended. Literally made it happen. Because, like you said, Diego, that's right. A lot of people would think it'd be crazy if you said, I want all of our students, all of our middle to high school students to have free reign of what they want to do in this nonprofit. A lot of places would be like, no, why would we do that if it's a bunch of kids? And that's the mindset that I'm glad Mr. Samandi doesn't have,
Yeah,
is that he trusts us with this type of stuff. And obviously, we're doing a good job because SOS hasn't burned to the ground. Yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
I still have to say we're doing a pretty solid job.
Yeah, and I would take it back a little bit further. And then like we've all heard this story, I'm sure. Michael, I'm not sure actually if you've heard it, but the whole reason he started SOS was because a student came up to him and pointed to the Eiffel Tower, and he said, well, what is this? It's the Eiffel Tower. And then, can you take us there? And then that like simple conversation, that simple question started this whole entire movement, and now he has taken people to the Eiffel Tower. He's taken them across the Atlantic. He's taken them across the Pacific, which is just amazing.
Yes, I do because that was in the video that Miss Catherine linked to me, so I could get an idea of what I wanted to do. And it's like that's awesome. Taking like a simple question, like, "Can you take us there?" And then I don't know if it was the exact class, but he did indeed take people there, and he's taken people like overseas. Like this isn't like a little field trip to like Arkansas or Alabama or New Mexico. This is like across the sea, like other half of the world.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I just think that that's wild. Like that's crazy.
I know, and I've been on the trips, and I still think, wow, I did this when I was in high school. Like that's crazy.
I know, like
that I
I've
got
only
this
been
opportunity.
only one trip in high school, and that was the ISA Takayama trip. But just one was enough to open my eyes entirely. Like I want to say, if I didn't go on that trip, I don't think I'd be sitting here being a podcast host with this right now. Like honest to God, I really don't think I would because I wouldn't have like literally had my eyes open to like, oh my God, this is the world. Like this is
Yeah.
crazy. Because a lot of time
Yeah.
we usually grow up in like these bubbles, if that makes any sense, you know?
Hmm.
Like we don't really worry about what's happening on the other half of the world. We're more focused on what's going on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I yeah. And I'd like to kind of shift gears a little bit and focus kind of on what SOS has been doing in light of COVID-19, because obviously we can't travel as much
Yeah,
with
it'd be
all
dangerous
the
to go out.
restrictions and all the
Yeah,
social distancing. But SOS has continued to shine its light through this. And like, we've been, what is it, 3 months now that we've been social distancing? And we're still going strong. So,
that's some digital service events. I think that was one of my first projects. Well, not think it was one of my first projects before we officially started the internship. I'm not sure if you guys remember that little thing where it was sending the thank you letters and videos to service workers.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was my idea. I came up
Oh,
with it,
really?
and it got
Nice.
views, and I was like, "Dang, that's pretty. That's pretty awesome." That
A
was one of
round
the
of
first things
applause.
Mr. Samandi and I worked on before the internship started because he had texted me and he was like, "Michael, do you have any idea how we could do service events while under lockdown, under social distancing?" And that's when I came up with the idea of, oh, let's do an online one. And I made a quick mock-up for him. He spruced it up, made it all pretty, and he was like, "It's gonna go live." And I think without realizing it, I just participated in one of the make it happen things because
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
it was just an idea I thought about. I didn't really. I mean, I put thought into it, obviously, but I guess it went over my head that I just did a make it happen, and it did happen, and it got recognized, and I'm really glad that it made a difference because it was just something I was thinking of. It just brewed in my head, and I was like, I think it'd be nice to send those out. You
Hmm.
know, everyone needs
Yeah.
a little love,
Yeah.
and then especially with what's going on now.
Plus, it's nice to have like that. Like I sent in one of the videos, so I participated in that, and like it was just nice on my side because I felt, like I was, like I'm acknowledging these people. They're doing so much work for our community, and like, I just like it's a thankless job, really, because everyone's just kind of like, otherwise occupied. Everyone's worried. And so it's really nice to be able to be the first person or the ones who say, truly thank you. And Diego, you did a make it happen, right?
Yeah, I did. So, um, I've done two make it happens. I've done three make it happens in total. I did one in seventh grade and one in eighth grade, and both of them were diaper drives for the Texas Diaper Bank. I did it during it was November, and that was like National Diaper Awareness Month, and so I did it in conjunction with that. And so this what was it, May, this May, I was like really really bored at home, and I had nothing to do, and I was feeling like really like unproductive, and I was just like moping around the house, playing video games way too much, and I had like an idea to do a diaper drive, but in a way that's not very traditional. I wanted to do a virtual diaper drive or a social distance diaper drive, and so the way I made that happen um, is well, first I got in contact with Mr. Samandi and I told him my idea, and he let me run with it. Um, I got with like six of my friends, and I was like, "Hey, can I turn your guys' front yard into a donation site?" And they said yes. And so I put SOS donation bins in their front yards. And typically, how I advertised my projects in the past was by putting bins in high traffic locations like schools or businesses. And that obviously wasn't, an option now. And then I would go and speak at these schools and businesses and, drum up support. And so I had to adapt. What I did was I went on, it was a fully social media marketed diaper drive. And so I posted on Facebook and Instagram and had all my friends post, to raise awareness for the diaper drive. And the thing that like a lot of people don't realize is that high schoolers are super desperate for service hours. And so when I told
Yeah.
them, yeah, they could get service hours by just like dropping off some diapers, they were, thrilled. And so, yeah, it turned out really well. We donated like 6,000 diapers, 5,000 diaper or baby wipes, and a bunch of formula. Yeah, and it felt like that sort of like jumped. Like ever since then, I feel like I've been way more productive. That sort of like, you know, got me up and moving, like out of my like unproductive coma that I'd been in since like March, because like I just had nothing to do.
Yeah. Same kind of with me on like a different note. I actually was planning to go on the China student ambassador trip this summer. And it was going to Wuxi, to our sister city, to talk like with the Chinese students there and just going to explore China. But obviously, that did not happen. That could
Yeah.
not happen this summer, sadly. So I was just kind of like sitting at home. I was like, I don't know. I'm doing nothing. I feel useless. Like, especially after my summer classes or my senior year like ended, like our online classes ended, and I was just doing nothing. So I was like, Mistress Mandy, if you're, I'm doing nothing at home, and if you have an intern spot open, I'd love to do that. And so here I am, and we've honestly, it's kind of surprised me how much we've been doing as interns, even while we're just at home. Like we're helping. I think like Diego, you had your Make It Happen, and I think we have one going on right now, and then we have two planned out or something like that for the next few months coming up,
Hmm.
which is insane that we're able to do that like all separated. We haven't actually talked face to face once.
Yeah, because you think like with a nonprofit based on community service, you think with like this pandemic and like social distancing and lockdown, like you think that we would like crumble like paper,
Yeah,
Walter, we're still going pretty strong in our transition to more, I guess, online digital community service events. Hasn't been a rocky one. Like it was a pretty smooth transition, and even now
yeah,
we still having a lot of good ideas coming in, and
yeah.
it
Especially,
amazes me. And like most of it is made again by by the interns, by
yeah,
like a bunch of kids, pretty much. What older folk would say, that just a bunch of kids making this. But I think that
yeah. Especially since like, sorry, I'm like cutting into you.
you're good. You're good.
Especially since SOS honestly is a little like we're all over San Antonio. Like there's some I know a lot of people who are from different schools all around San Antonio in different districts. So in a way, SOS is still being able to connect all of us, which is really nice.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's really cool that like an organization that's like speaks to like the strength of SOS and like its members that like we're able to continue like doing typically what is like a very like group centered like meet in person type of thing, but virtually. I think that's really cool.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Hence this podcast.
yeah, exactly. Like
Exactly.
we should talk about the internship real quick. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, like Catherine said, I mean, it's really cool how us interns are able to get everything done that we do without ever seeing another person. Like at least for me, like I don't like I mean, I like collaborating on projects like with people in person. Like I feel like it's a lot easier to do. I think it's a lot harder to do things, where it takes more time to communicate. And I think it's really
Hmm.
cool that we're still able to get good work done.
Yeah, it's really nice, and everyone's like really open about everything and really understanding, which is also really nice because like you click on the news, you turn it on, and it's like there's a pandemic going on like outside your window,
Yeah.
and so it's
Yeah.
kind of it's scary.
It is
Yeah.
scary. Like it's not exactly a very safe world out there right now,
Hmm.
which
But
makes
we're
me
still
sad
being,
because the world should be safe.
yeah, we're still able to like affect and impact our community and like impact the world from our own homes, like separated from each other.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, yeah. I think we should start to wrap up now. Real quick,
Yeah, I think we're running out of time on the clock a little bit.
yeah, I think uh a recurring like part of this podcast is we want to be able to share people's experiences with SOS. This was just like an intro episode.
Yeah,
Um,
Hmm.
we got to share our experiences. So we're
yeah,
hoping for later episodes that we get some other smiling faces on. I mean, you won't be able to see them, but I can assure you that they will be smiling. I hope.
You can hear it through their voices.
Yeah, I'm smiling right now. I'm pretty sure you can hear it. But
Yes. Yeah, and I'm really excited to touch base with some of the travelers that I've traveled with. So hopefully we'll be able to get a few seasoned travelers up on here. And
yeah.
it'll be really fun.
yes, if not, we can have a whole episode dedicated to Catherine. Because if anything, you're the most seasoned in terms of trip wise. Because I haven't been here that long. But you two are the veterans. You two are on it.
Diego's really a veteran. He's been here since what, like sixth grade?
Yeah, my mom like met Mr. Like my mom like had a mutual friend of Mr. Samani's and like they met when I was in like sixth grade and like yeah, I mean I've sort of like been like I didn't really start getting involved till maybe like seventh or eighth grade, but yeah, I've been aware of SOS for a long time now.
It's important to know for all you listeners at home that Diego is pretty much calling the shots out of all three of us.
I don't
Yep.
know.
Yeah,
I
he
don't
No
know.
does
argument.
check-ins with us. Mr. Samandi had asked him, "I need you to have weekly check-ins with all the other interns," and I'm like, "Dang!" Like the first thing I said when Diego called me, I was like, "Diego, you're the boss, man. You're the
It's just because I'm good at writing stuff down.
hey, I respect it."
I can take good notes, so that's gotten me far. But I
Ooh.
mean, we're all one team. Like we all like work together. I don't think. I mean, it wouldn't work out like as an internship if there was like roles and like a ladder. I think everybody's on the same page. We just have different tasks. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
all
would say
what
so
we do
too. Like,
best.
you guys have your own things to do. Like I have the video. I'll be compiling all of our audio tracks into a nicer looking thing for everyone to listen. I guess maybe see on places like YouTube because we'll have a video up. We're not just gonna have a black screen with us talking.
Yeah, true.
I think that'd be pretty weird. I mean, I think there might be a video like that.
I don't know,
I
but
know there's the
we
10
can
hours
figure it out.
reader breathing. That's a video.
Okay.
Well, hopefully, Michael, you have some pretty fancy little wizard fingers on making videos. So I have faith. I have faith that you're going to make this
Oh
very
yeah,
interesting.
don't you
Yeah,
worry,
for
it'll be
sure.
fine. But yeah,
Yeah. So look forward to the other episodes that we're going to be making pretty soon.
Yeah.
Probably.
yeah, we'll have to get a hold of a couple of guests, but overall, I think we should be getting ready for episode 2 pretty soon, and we can have a more, I guess, structured episode
Hmm.
going on about what the organization is, our personal experiences, but now y'all will be able to hear other people's experiences, so
Other people.
just us three.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
are a lot of people that have been involved with
Look
us.
forward to hearing interviews with fellow SOS travelers.
But other than that, this is SOS from home signing off.
Ooh.